थोड़ा सा टेक्निकल इश्यूज थे हमारे साथ. We will be live broadcasting this program through Vision Life Studio, and we are right here, Calgary Vision Life Studio, and we have some guests actually in our Zoom session as well. So sorry for being late, as I said that we have some technical issues. So let's just start the program. So today's program is about the finance, audit, and technology, and we have our co-host, as I said, Asim and Vakar. So Asim, please introduce yourself first.
Hi guys, my name is Asam Akhtar. I'm the Secretary General for French Cafe Club of Canada, and I'm living in Calgary for last 3 years. And this session is one of the series out of the professional sessions, where we try to bring some professionals from different fields so that they can get you guys some information that can help you when you are immigrating to Canada and trying to pursue a profession. And we would like to have Vakar for with us.
So thank you, Asim and Vakar. Thanks for being joining with us.
Welcome.
So as we mentioned that we will be doing these sessions for past 2 years. This is the continuation of our series we started from Friends Cafe, and this series is to help our community. The community, we do have a different people here in our Friends Cafe Club of Canada. We do have students and we do have professionals. So the purpose of programs like this is so that we can help our community. And today's program, as we said, that it's about the finance and auditing and the technology. And Vakar, please introduce yourself. Vakar is been with us in Friends Cafe Club of Canada as a journal member. And thanks a lot
You're
again.
welcome.
So introduce yourself,
Yep.
please.
Hi everyone. My name is Waqar Alam. By profession, I'm a chartered accountant from Pakistan. I completed my chartered accountancy back in 2009, and the career I have it's almost around for 18 years. I have worked a bit in Pakistan. Then I worked for quite some time in Middle East. Then from 2016 onwards, I've been living in Canada. Um, as I mentioned, basically I call myself a chartered accountant from Pakistan because this is where I started my career and everything came across that. Apart from that, I did SIMA back in 2010, then I did CISA in 2012, and recently when I decided to move to Canada in 2016, I pursued CPA Canada. So that's a bit about me.
Okay, no, thanks. A very good, introduction, and we are lucky that we got your time actually. So that
You're
thanks a
welcome.
lot once again. So मैं थोड़ा सा आज के सेगमेंट के बारे में एक्सप्लेन कर दूं कि हम जो आज का जो ये प्रोग्राम कर रहे हैं, जैसे मैंने कहा कि 4 डोमेन्स हैं हमारे. एक ये स्टूडेंट्स के लिए प्रोग्राम है जो कि इस फील्ड में इंजीनियरिंग इस फील्ड के अंदर डिग्रीज ले रहे हैं, फाइनेंस के अंदर या ऑडिट के अंदर. और दूसरा ये प्रोग्राम्स उन प्रोफेशनल्स के हैं जो कि ऑलरेडी इस फील्ड में हैं एंड दे लुकिंग फॉर जॉब्स. और थर्ड कैटेगरी वो है जो कि ऑलरेडी जॉब्स में है बट दे वुड लाइक टू चेंज देयर कैरियर्स विद इन दैट फील्ड. सो दीज आर द 3 मेन डोमेन्स, राइट. वी कैन डिस्कस अवर टॉपिक ऑफ डिस्कशन विल बेसिकली इन्हीं 3 के अंदर जो है घूमेंगे, जो हमारा आज का टॉपिक है. तो मैं आज स्टार्ट करता हूँ सबसे पहले कि वाई दिस फील्ड, क्यों इस फील्ड को
Why
चूज
this field? Ansha, one of the main reason, especially if you're being in Canada, I think everyone would agree that job security is a very big concern for everyone. So what I've observed, the finance field is the most secure one. Although like it doesn't compare to the high tech engineers or maybe some scientists, it on average it doesn't pay that much, but it's a really secure job. Even if you look at the global crisis or the things that been happening like in 2020 and back in 2008, accounting field was the most secured one. So this is one of the main reasons that you should pursue this field. Second thing, I would say that it has a very big scope. But when we talk about accounting, see, most of the people only think about accounting, but it's also accounting, auditing. You can go into the supply chain, you can go into the controllership. So there's a lot of scope in that field. Like you just become a CPA or a graduate, and there are a lot of opportunity for you that gets open. So that's one of the another reason. Another reason could be like you can have your own business. Especially in North America and some part of the Middle East, what people have done, they started to explore their own consultancy businesses, which is a really good thing growing up right now in I think almost every part of the world. Other thing I would say, like if you observe the trend of the recent past, uh, you will see there are companies where the CEOs are basically coming from the finance background. So you have, if you are good at it, then you have an opportunity to go to the CEO level. But it obviously it requires a lot of effort. But for the finance guys, there is a lot of room compared to the other guys to become and be the CEO of the company. So I think these are the four major reasons, and I think these are very valid reasons that you should choose. I'm actually an advocate of this field, but to be pretty honest, like I feel really secure here.
So my second question, where to start? In fact, like being as like I'm gonna ask as a junior, you know, if you just graduated, you just come to the market. So what's the starting point where you should start, right?
It basically depends in which part of the world you are currently, because if I talk about myself, when I did my college from Karachi, we had an option that we could skip our graduation and we directly do the chartered accountancy field. So it actually saves you 2 or 3 years time.
So you don't need BCom over there,
No,
right?
no, you don't need it. You don't need
So,
it. Yeah.
so you can directly after graduation, you can sorry after your
After college,
intermediate-
you can go there, but it's like it's really tough.
Okay.
So it's challenging, but if you're good at it, you can save a lot of time. So the people who are, I think, who are basically doing from Pakistan or I think in India, they use this route. But if you are in Canada and maybe I think in US also, you first need to have your graduation done. The advantage it gives you that in Pakistan, if you are doing CA, it takes you 6 years. In Canada, it's going to take you 3 years because you have already spent 4 years or so in your graduation. So, and also I recommend people who are coming here in Canada and who are basically pursuing accounting as a career, go for their graduation because it secures 4 or 5 years of your time or of your life. So after your graduation, you can start doing your job. Okay. And after doing your job for quite a some time, if you feel you're good at it, you can go for CPA because it's challenging. It's not like I would decide one day, okay, I want to do CPA and I can go and do it. I may spend half 1 year, probably 2 years, and then I get nothing out of it. So judge yourself, do the graduation, get into the job market, feel if there's a need for you to go for the CPA. Or one thing I also wanted to focus, which I think we kept at the agenda of, or you can say the headline of this program, is the technology. What I have found, like coming into Canada, that most of the people that I interact with are the IT guys. Okay. And there's a lot of scope in that field for, you say, system implementation for the finance professional. So you probably don't need to be a CPA. If I graduate, if I go back in time, and if I would have been that lucky that I'm studying in Canada, I would have done my graduation and then I would have switched into the learning on the IT sides. So it gives me advantage of both. So some people who may not be able to do CPA, they can do some courses, for example, learning ABAP programming, learning something on SAP or Oracle, and they can become the program leads for these accounting system implementation.
Okay. So because you just mentioned about doing some courses, so I think right now we are talking about the growth for the people who are already in doing in this profession and doing practice. Now, as an immigrant, I wanted to ask you, when somebody is coming from Pakistan with the qualification, usually in other professions I see like people have to do some bridging programs or try to do some courses and exams in order to get to the job market in Canada, and then they are considered for jobs. What is related to the field where we are talking right now, finance?
I think here what I have observed right now, it mostly depends on the job markets, because when I came to Canada in 2016, it was really tough because you need to have a CPA degree to be considered among the people who are already in the field or in the job market. But right now what I have seen in the recent past, people who comes directly from Middle East or Pakistan, they're getting jobs there because the job market here currently, for especially for the finance professional, is so good that even if you don't have your CPA, if you can speak good, you can clear the interview, you have good chances to get a job. But what I would recommend, even though you get a job, and if you want to progress in this field, you want to grow your career in this field, go for CPA. Because what happens if, for example, if I get into an organization, I get like senior analyst or I become a manager, then there is only one CFO, there only be like quite a few directors only in the company. And there would be, your peers would have done CPA. If they're from here in Canada, they would have done the CPA. So if you want to compete with them, do your CPA.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to. Otherwise, if you just want to survive, you get the job, I think you can survive. But if you want to grow, then definitely go for CPA. Although maybe I don't think it's good if you are already a chartered accountant from Pakistan, it probably may not add certain value into your education perspective, but it gives you a kind of a seal. Okay, you're something here in Canada.
Okay, like basically gives you a more recognition in the market,
Yes.
and it like catch the eye of the recruiters for that.
Yeah, or
Okay.
recruiters, and also in terms of your company, if they want to promote someone to like a certain higher level, like a CFO, CEO, or even financial directors, I have seen people who haven't done their CPAs, they struggle.
So like doing this CPA, I just want to do a
Mm.
follow-up question for that. So is like somebody when he or she is planning to come to Canada, they can start doing the process of getting through the CPA while they are outside Canada, or you have to be in Canada when you want to start this process? Like it's dependent upon the region, or you can do it from anywhere to become ready.
I think,
Sorry, before
yeah.
you answer, I guess you are on mute actually. So if you can just unmute so that people or who are on the Zoom call, they can hear to us actually. Sorry. So maybe someone, if confirm, are you okay and you can hear now? Those who are on Zoom session. So Rohab, if you can just confirm to me if you can hear to me.
You can just raise your hand.
Yeah, so they can hear you. Sorry for that.
Okay.
Like, so because we are live on Facebook as well, we are live on Vision Live Studio as well, and we are live on Zoom as well. So we are live in 3 different medias actually. So sorry for that.
YouTube as well.
And if you have any question, those who are on Zoom and those who are on Facebooks, they can certainly go to the chat bar. They can write their questions, and certainly we can ask the questions. So yeah, sorry for interruption. Yes, go ahead, Asim, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
okay.
I think you ask about the people who want to do CPA, whether there is an opportunity to, like before landing here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, for CPA exams, they don't like SEMA or ACC exam. They don't hold it online. You have to be here in
Okay.
Canada. But interesting thing about myself, I tell you that uh, when in 2015 I was planning, like I had my plans. In fact, in 2013 I had my plans to move to Canada. I had already done my SEMA before that.
Okay.
So I was trying to figure out, okay, I want to come into this market, and in order to be competitive and grow, I need to have a CPA. And I was trying to figure out, okay, how I can appear online in the exam. And then I explored that if you are a SEMA member and you have certain years of experience, you don't have to sit in any exam. You can just apply for the degree and you can get it, qualification. So that's the route I selected. So
Okay.
what I recommend to the people, like if there's no route for you to do an online, uh, try different routes. It could be, I think I've heard like from now on they have stopped that route for giving complete exemptions to SEMA members.
Okay.
But I think with SEMA and ACCA also, there's certain chance, like you only have to give I think 2 or 3 exams or certain exams. One more thing I would like to mention, especially if someone is like sitting back in Pakistan right now, they haven't started their CA qualification and they're thinking, okay, I will do my CA and then I'll go to Canada and I'll do my CPA. I would recommend them spending time in instead of spending time in CA, go for SEMA or ACCA. The reason being, it's quite easier compared to CA. The passing ratio is quite high.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing is it provides you more or less same exemption if you're aiming to get your CPA Canada.
Okay, so that counts here, right? If you do a
The,
SEMA over there, right?
yeah, Pakistani Chartered Accountancy, ACC and SEMA are counted similar here.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
So
okay.
doing SEMA and ACCA is much easier compared to ICAPC or Pakistan
And
Chartered
when we are
Accountancy.
comparing CA with ACCA and SEMA in terms of number of years, like, can you just briefly tell us, like,
For CA, when I passed, I think it used to take around 6 year minimum.
okay.
Okay. ACC, I think you can do it in 4 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for SEMA, I did it in like around 3 years time. So, but
Wow.
there are certain, I think, because I was already doing my CA, so when I started my SEMA, I already got few exemptions. So I'm not sure, like, but in total, it's not going to be more than 3 years or 4 years. ACC is much more quicker, and also like when you're doing your CA from Pakistan, you need to do articleship in certain firms.
Oh, okay.
So one question, as you're talking about the Pakistan, so those people who are watching us from Pakistan, in fact, not now, in fact, even in future, they're watching this program in our YouTube channel. They must have this questions. So is it okay? You can, like big four companies, they hired people from Pakistan with Pakistani degrees here in Canada or North America. Is that okay? I mean, for them, or is that
Well,
not the case?
it will be very surprising for you because I had never heard anyone getting hired in Canada. I have heard like people getting hired in European part of the world because they can easily get someone, but in Canada you need to have your PR first. Otherwise, no one is gonna hire you directly.
Okay, so
So
the no
what
work
hap-
visa issues to the
Yeah,
people who have degree just from there, right?
yeah. So Canada, you won't hire. I think you would hardly notice or maybe find anyone who came to Canada as an sponsored employee of a company. You need to have your PR because I think they have an immigration process. But in the last 2 years, I have seen 2 or 3 examples of people who got hired directly by PwC, and PwC actually sponsored them. So they didn't had any PR, they didn't do any of their process. PwC handled all this process. So for this accountancy field, like I think it's one of the fewer field, maybe only field in Canada where an employer can actually sponsor a person who doesn't have a PR.
Okay.
Okay.
So now in terms of the salary, like if you're a chartered accountant here, so like as I start, like I'm just talking about the first few years, like how much salary you expect, like
So for a CPA, because the route here is kind of that you need to have your bachelor's done. So once you get your bachelor and then you go into the job market, probably, I think, yeah, one thing I like to mention, the market of Alberta or the salaries of Alberta are much higher compared to any other province, especially
Okay,
for
so-
the accountant.
so if
It's
you're
a-
planning to come to Canada, so think about
Alberta.
Alberta,
Yeah.
right?
Alberta,
We have people here from BC as well. So in comparison to BC
Oh yeah,
versus
BC is pretty low.
is it
Even
low?
low,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
even lower than Ontario. I don't know why, because it's such an expensive province. But
Yeah, comparing to expenses, certainly. I mean, to be honest, like comparing to expenses between Alberta and BC, that's a different, discussion. But
even in at my previous employer, when we used to hire for Ontario region compared to our Alberta, the salary difference was minimum 15,000.
Okay.
and I guess that's true exactly. I mean, if you are new to the industry, again, don't need to think about salary much because you need
Yes.
experience. Certainly, you need experience. So that's your major
Yeah,
goal, right?
exactly.
Yes, and I think yeah, I would agree, or probably I'd say second to your point. When what happens, like people who come here and they have certain experience or certain qualification with them, and they say, okay, no, I'm coming as a finance manager, I'm coming as a senior manager from Middle East or in part of the world, and I don't want to like get a job of an accountant or something here. If I get a job of an accountant, then I'll be stuck as an accountant. So here the story is pretty different. I would recommend, if you're coming to Canada, get the job whatever you can in your field, especially even if it's like an accountant level job, and within a few months, even in the same month or same week, you can switch the job. Because what happens here, the basic restriction, the people from the back home or you can say other parts of the world coming here faces that the recruiter said that you don't have Canadian experience.
Right.
So if I'm coming as a senior manager with 10 years of experience, they will say, okay, you don't have experience. And if I work here like for like 2 months as an accountant or a senior accountant, then that story is gone. Now I can apply for a senior manager position. I have worked with a person here in 2017 who was working as a internal auditor. Basically, you can say the lowest level, probably the lowest level job in the internal audit section. And then from there, he suddenly jumped to a director position.
Oh, that's good.
Suddenly, like he changed. So the recruiter or the company won't ask you, okay, you're working as an internal auditor, now why you're applying for a director? They will look at you, see, they see you already have an experience here. So never let go any opportunity if it's in your field, gain experience, and keep applying for the job. Even if you don't need to apply, I think the best time to apply for the job is when you don't need the job.
Right.
Oh, that's something new to
Because you can negotiate. If I'm going for an interview and I have on top of my hand, okay, if I don't get this job, what's going to happen? I'm still off the market for 2 months. Okay, then it will develop pressure on me.
Right.
No, that's a very good point,
That's a very
actually.
good point,
that you need job when you don't need job.
Yeah.
So that's a very good thing. No,
Right.
that's a good point, actually.
While you mentioned about applying and getting in line to the recruiters, um, how do you see the social platforms available like LinkedIn as per Canada market? Why I'm asking this question, usually especially for people who are watching us from Pakistan or the South Asian part of the region, is like usually at that place people think that LinkedIn is not much seen by the recruiters. Only the resume is going into the office, getting shortlisted, and people are called for interview. But what I have seen in other professions here in Canada, like engineering, LinkedIn is a very active platform where recruiters are looking for candidates. So, what's your experience about that for finance perspective?
Well, I think in Canada, LinkedIn and other social networks are the main source for, especially for the accountants. Okay, when you apply for the job, because I have worked in the Middle East market for quite some time, and I had an experience, and all the people in the Middle East believe, okay, when you apply for a recruitment job, the either the job is fake, or they have already hired someone and they just keep it posted. And that was the case. Used to be like, you know me, I know you, and okay, I need someone, I'll just go to you, and for the purpose of doing some formality, I'll keep it posted. But here, when you apply for it, it's a real job, and the recruiters really contact you here for a real job. Most of the people, I haven't found anyone in my profession here who came here and got a job based on reference. They either got it through recruiter or directly applying through the website. All of the job I have got, most of the time I have directly applied to the website of the company and they give me a call. Obviously you need to have your relevant experience. For example, if I'm applying for a director job and I'm just a new in the market, so it won't make sense. But if your CV and skills are relevant, they really call you. The recruiter market is really good here.
अच्छा, एक चीज़ जो सप्लाई चेन मैनेजमेंट के हवाले से कि उसमें भी आपकी डिमांड है उस फील्ड में पे, तो उसमें क्या रोल है उसमें, और क्या उसमें ग्रोथ मार्जिन, ग्रोथ क्या है उसमें?
Basically, for chartered accountants, even I think a CPA Canada maybe or Pakistan से भी है, you're doing from any part of the world. जब आप कर रहे होते तो you are not only learning accounting and audit. वो आपको supply chain, market demands, even you study about the marketing and IT also. So आप सब चीज़ें आपने सीखी होती हैं. आपने टैक्स लॉस पढ़े हुए हैं, आपने कंपनी लॉ पढ़ा हुआ है. सप्लाई चेन इज़ ऑल्सो पार्ट ऑफ इट. सो जैसे मैंने कहा था कि शुरू में कि व्हेन यू आर इनटू दिस फील्ड आपके पास बहुत सारा स्कोप है. आप सप्लाई चेन में भी जा सकते हैं. यू कैन, व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड माई आफ्टर PwC, व्हेन आई डिड माई CA, आई वर्क फॉर Unilever for a small time, and they gave me an opportunity either I should go in the controllership or in the supply chain. So if I would have gone there, most of the people used to, what they used to do, okay, they work for certain time periods in internal audit, they would certain time period work in FP&A, financial planning department, controller, and also in the supply chain. Because supply chain, you have to control the supply, market, demand, and these things, and Excel is used everywhere. And who better would be a person to use Excel than an accountant?
आपका कोई क्वेश्चन है या मैं थोड़ा सा इसको कंटिन्यू करूं?
आप कंटिन्यू कीजिए.
अच्छा, तो मुझे इस पे थोड़ा सा पता करना था कि जो सैप है इसकी क्या आपकी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन है इसके अंदर, और सैप की नॉलेज कितनी होनी चाहिए आपके पास?
बेसिकली SAP और ये सैप जो है, इट्स एन मोर इट्स एन अकाउंटिंग सॉफ्टवेयर. ठीक है ना. तो अब जितने अब दुनिया में ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड इस पे इतना फोकस होने लगा, बिकॉज डाटा इतना बढ़ गया है, एंड कंसिडरिंग के मार्केट कभी अप कभी डाउन जा रही है, हायरिंग डाउन साइजिंग करनी है, दे नीड इन्फॉर्मेशन कंपनीज. तो छोटी से छोटी कंपनी भी होती है ना, वो कोई ना कोई सॉफ्टवेयर इंप्लीमेंट करवाना चाह रही होती है. एंड आई थिंक राइट नाउ इज़ द मोस्ट अट्रैक्टिव टाइम फॉर एनी person in the finance field to get into the technology. Not only SAP, Oracle या किसी भी तरह के सिस्टम में जाए, बिकॉज फाइनेंस वाले आर द मेन यूज़र ऑफ दी सिस्टम एंड दे नो इट बेटर. अब मेरा जैसे मैं सिंस आई बल्कि इवन बिफोर मूविंग टू कैनेडा फ्रॉम 2013 ऑनवर्ड्स मैंने खुद को डाइवर्ट कर दिया है इन सिस्टम साइड पे. द रीज़न बीइंग आई वांटेड टू मेक श्योर दैट I have some skills which make me stand out in the organization.
नहीं, आजकल ये डाटा साइंस और जो है टेक्नोलॉजी, इट्स बेसिकली इज एन इमर्जिंग फील्ड एंड एवरीवेयर,
हाँ,
लाइक नॉट ओनली लाइक अकाउंटिंग बट इन
नॉट ओनली
इंजीनियरिंग,
अकाउंटिंग, हाँ
डॉक्टर्स, मेडिसिन,
हाँ
एवरीवेयर यू सी दैट, राइट?
या
सो
बट ये जो अकाउंटिंग सिस्टम जो ईआरपी सिस्टम जितने भी ना, इनमें अकाउंटेंट का रोल काफ़ी ज़्यादा होता है. व्हाट अब जैसे मैं आई एम वर्किंग फॉर लास्ट 7-8 years इन दिस फील्ड. व्हाट आई हैव नोटिस इज कि मोस्ट अब मेरा 90% इंटरेक्शन मेरा इंजीनियर से होता है,
ठीक है,
जो कि मेरा सिस्टम डिज़ाइन करना अकाउंटिंग का.
ओके.
एंड दे फील अ नीड, ऑल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन फील द नीड कि काश हमें कोई एक ऐसा बंदा मिल जाए जो कि अकाउंटेंट हो, क्योंकि सीएफओ डायरेक्टर फाइनेंस तो अकाउंटिंग टर्म में बात करेंगे, और जो हमारी बातें सुन के वो इंजीनियर्स को यूज़ करके हमारा सिस्टम इम्प्लीमेंट करवाए. एंड यू हार्डली हैव people over there, or I think this is going to be the field for the future, because I have seen there are a lot of big companies जिन्होंने अपने IT अकाउंटिंग डिपार्टमेंट या तो आउटसोर्स कर दिए या तो ऑटोमेट कर दिए, एंड प्योर अकाउंटेंट्स दे हैव लॉस्ट देयर जॉब, और उसको रिप्लेस किया है सिस्टम इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ने. तो अगर हम अगर स्पेशली फॉर द पीपल हु आर विलिंग टू और हु आर प्लानिंग टू कम टू कनाडा और नॉर्थ अमेरिका, उनको इस चीज़ पे काफ़ी फोकस रखना चाहिए कि वो इसके साथ साथ ये सारे स्किल, हमने जितने भी लास्ट 3 years में हमने जितने भी लोग अपने कंपनीज में हायर किए ना, उनके हम मेन चीज़ें दिखते थे. चलो हर कोई ग्रेजुएट है, हर कोई सीपीए, उसके पास कौन से स्किल्स हैं, उसने कोई एसएपी से यूज़ किया हुआ है, उसने कोई पावर बीआई की कोई ऐप डिज़ाइन की हुई है, और उसी बेसिस पे मोस्टली मोरलेस उनके सिलेक्शन हो रहे होते थे.
तो यहाँ पे सर्टिफिकेशन उसकी लेनी पड़ती है, पावर जैसे आप जैसे
इत्तेफाक की बात है, मैंने कोई सर्टिफिकेशन नहीं ली.
जस्ट ऑनलाइन कोर्सेज और
ऑनलाइन मुझे ये होता कि आई गॉट एन अपॉर्चुनिटी. हमारी कंपनी दुबई में वी वर इम्प्लीमेंटिंग एसएपी, और जब मैं कनाडा मूव करता मैंने देखा यार यहाँ कौन सी, उस वक्त यही था कि बहुत ज़्यादा सैचुरेटेड मार्केट थी, अकाउंटेंट्स के लिए जॉब नहीं थी.
Okay.
तो मैंने आने से पहले आई वुड ऑल्सो रिकमेंड पीपल टू डू दिस. आप कहीं भी अगर मूव कर रहे हैं तो गो टू इंडीड. कनाडा के लिए indeed.ca प्रीटी फेमस एंड लिंक्डइन. वहाँ जाके आप जॉब्स जाके देखिए कौन सी है मार्केट में, ताकि आप उस हिसाब से अपने आप को प्रिपेयर करें. डोंट जस्ट कम हेयर हैविंग योर क्वालिफिकेशन एंड एक्सपेक्टिंग कि हाँ मुझे इसमें जॉब मिले. चेक कि मुझे क्या ज़रूरत होगी कंपेयर टू द जॉब रिक्वायरमेंट, और फिर आप साल भर 1.5 साल जितना भी आपका टाइम पीरियड है आप उसमें प्रिपेयर करें, ताकि आप आएँ तो आपके पास ऑलरेडी स्किल हो. मैंने भी किया था कि व्हेन आई लुक्ड आई सॉ एसएपी से रिलेटेड यहाँ काफ़ी स्कोप है. एंड व्हाट आई डिड, जब मेरी पीआर भी नहीं हुई थी, आई स्टार्टेड अप्लाइंग. और दुबई, हाँ, एंड देन दुबई में बैठ के मेरे दुबई के नंबर पे दे स्टार्टेड कॉलिंग मी, एंड देन आई स्टार्टेड अप्लाइंग इन द यूएस जॉब फॉर द एसएपी अकाउंटिंग एसएपी रोल. दे स्टार्टेड कॉलिंग मी. फिर मुझे यार, मैं जब इनको पता है कि बंदा यहाँ पे है नहीं, एंड दे आर कॉलिंग मी, देन देयर विल बी समथिंग इन दिस फील्ड. एंड देन आई स्टार्ट. उस सेम टाइम था कि आई वाज फॉर्चुनेट कि हमारी कंपनी इम्प्लीमेंट भी कर रही थी. मैंने अकाउंटिंग को साइड में किया, मैं उस क्या कहते हैं एसएपी प्रोग्राम मैनेजमेंट में घुस गया. आई स्टार्टेड लर्निंग अबाउट इट. एंड वंस यू केम हियर, ऑनेस्टली इफ़ यू नो, इट डजंट डिपेंड कि आपने इस पर काम किया कि नहीं. ऑब्वियसली काम किया तो अच्छा है, बट यू इफ़ यू हैव नॉलेज अबाउट इट एंड इफ़ यू आर गुड एट स्पीकिंग अबाउट इट, देन यू कैन मेक योर मार्क. बिकॉज अकाउंटिंग एंड टेक्नोलॉजी एक ऐसी फील्ड है जिसमें इफ़ देयर आर 100 जॉब्स ना, तो hardly 2 or 3 people are accountant who are capable enough to do that. Rest of the case goes to the engineers. तो कंपनी के पास अगर वो कहेगा हमें इस जॉब के लिए अगर मुझे अकाउंटेंट मिल रहा है, तो मैं 10-15 इंजीनियर को छोड़ दूंगा, क्योंकि हायर बेसिकली डायरेक्टर फाइनेंस कर रहा होता है इन जॉब्स के लिए. एंड व्हेन ही इज टॉकिंग टू एन इंजीनियर, सेज यार अच्छा सही है, बिकॉज ही इज द वन हु नोज ऑल द लैंग्वेज, मैं इसकी बातों पर रिलाई कर लूँगा. लेकिन अगर आपके पास, और ये same thing goes for the engineers also.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking to intervene here. That same thing goes to the engineers.
What I have noticed करने में आने के बाद कि मेरा जैसे 90% इंटरेक्शन इंजीनियर से हुआ ना, तो there is only one person, not one person, only one person in these 6 years who I have seen as a Pakistani engineer.
Okay.
Otherwise, rest of them are Indians. And they earn really good. You won't believe. They earn really good. So what I have noticed कि हमारे इतने इंजीनियर्स हैं, they don't explore this field. और इंडियंस जो है वो आते ही साथ इस फील्ड में घुस जाते हैं, and they earn quite a good. So हमारे इंजीनियर, मैं तो I would say that this session should not only be for accounting, this is for engineers also.
So we have another session, in fact, for technology. In fact, related to the technology. In fact, our past session was about the technology, and and we have another, in fact, workshops as well on that as well. But that's an emerging field, and certainly we should think about it moving to this field. In fact, if you are engineer, as most, we have seen here, like in our cafe group as well, there are a lot of engineers who move from engineering to technology. They know now, they're working on SAP. They're working, some of them are working Power BI systems, and a lot of actually, and especially even like in medicine, I've seen people are moving to this field. So
Well, for SAP Oracle, for these kind of systems, they don't have any specific qualification.
yeah,
So any person would be coming from any different, either an engineer or accountant or maybe some other person. So you just have to do few courses for that, get your grip on it, and then you can start.
yeah, especially if you have accounting background and you come to the technology and then you go apply. As I said, your chances are more getting job other than the one who is just like a degree and has no experience in technology. So these days is important in every single field, right? So that's true actually. Now coming back to the another question, if you have any question, Asim, you can jump in.
Okay. Now, I wanted to ask, like, because we are talking about the applications and jobs. Um, like, I know it's like a very usual question, but based on your experience and real-time scenarios you have seen, how you would like to advise people in your field who are coming to Canada to approach interviews in this market?
Well, I would say not only for accountant, for anyone who do your homework. Okay. Uh, for example, when I was moving, I wanted to move to Alberta, and I specifically looked for which fields are like which skills of an accountant are in demand. Okay.
Right.
Then I prepared for those skills. Like whatever was required. And if someone is coming here in this market, okay, I would prefer. In fact, I would recommend people to come to Alberta. There are a lot of jobs here. Everyone is going to Ontario, where is so much already
saturation, like
saturated
it's already
market,
saturated
and the
market.
salaries are so high, expenses are so much. I've seen people expect like
Salaries are low and expenses are high.
expenses are
Yeah.
high, and like whenever I talk to my friends, they're saying, "Okay, I'm in the train. I'll call you back after 1 hour when I reach home."
Yeah, that's another thing. Anyway, now coming back to, because we have a limitation, like some time restriction. Like if
Yep.
anybody who is joining us through Zoom, and if you have any questions, please write your questions here, and we can certainly ask questions. And you can even write your questions in our WhatsApp group as well, and then we can take those questions just in case if we're not going to be able to answer on time. And okay, so I'm just checking like if we got some questions here. Otherwise, yeah. So I have another question. It's about like Canadian work, as I was discussing before. That's my interesting topic. Canada or US की जो market है. So why people, why you stick with Canada, right? Why you're not moving to USA? The market is big. Is there any reason for that, or?
US market compared, there is no कोई comparison नहीं है US की market का किसी भी दुनिया की किसी market से, that's for sure. The reason, खैर, I've been working remotely for the last 6 years, so and currently I'm working for Nutrien US office.
Oh, so it's a hybrid. Okay.
So I'm working on another contract which is also based in US. So
Okay.
in fact, it's an interesting thing. Last few months back, I moved to US just to see how it works out for me. I got a job in a Fortune 500 over there. It was in Georgia. I knew like it's an expensive place, and so I thought, okay, let's go there just because the weather is really good. Let's see how it works out. But the life over there is so fast until unless like there's a requirement for me, okay, I need to be there, I don't have any option here, I would go there. But if you give me an option to work from US or here, I'll stay here, because again I'll start counting the benefits of being in Alberta or Calgary. But you say like in US, first the major thing is insurance. You have to pay your insurance. Okay, and then they say the taxes are lower, but the things I saw on my first paycheck, they deducted this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing. I was like, okay, at the end of the day, I'm getting whatever I was getting in Canada. So that is it. But definitely the job market is pretty good over there. Like even sitting here and I applied over there, I got the job. So, but I think the main issue comes here, like they usually prefer someone who has a green card or something. So
Okay.
it depends on the preference of a person.
Okay. Now another question about the freelancing. Like in this field, what the chances? Like I've seen many people like who are doing freelancing in this field. Like, so you see the bright future here for people who want to go in this like freelancing career, right?
For the last 5 years, apart from my full-time job, I'm doing freelancing. I've done for Accenture, I've done for Tech Mahindra, I've done for Tata Consultancy. I'm recently doing for a US-based firm, Madeba. I've done for um, this another Macrospect. So,
Oh, so
so
sky
that's
is the limit. So you can see.
my full-time job is my side income.
Okay, so that's good thing actually. In fact, other than your side, other than your main job, you can do freelancing and you can earn
Yeah.
money. I mean, especially these days, uh, when everyone is suffering because of inflation and because of
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
that's
think
a good
the good
idea.
thing about North America here, the job opportunity are so high right now since the pandemic. The job opportunity is so high. I've seen a lot of people, at least in my field, doing two jobs because they got an option to work from home and they took another role. Suddenly, I don't know from where. In the peak pandemic, there are a lot of jobs opened in
no,
the
I've seen
market.
people like who are doing 3 jobs. In fact,
Yeah, yeah.
I've seen people.
I did four at time.
So you're
one
on
time.
I
your
think it
life.
was I think it was a matter of opening another laptop and just get to the job.
Oh
and
yeah,
then,
because I'll come back to the technology side. Being in technology gives you that advantage.
Right.
You have to, like, you don't need to be sitting in the office. If you're in technology field, you need to have your laptop and you can start working from anywhere, and they'll give you an option to work for more than one job.
Right. Huh?
Now I've seen people like, especially in pandemic, I've seen people were working like in 3 different fields and 3 different jobs, and all were like from their home. So
People have
that's
made a lot of money during that
yeah,
time.
and it is a big change actually. Since 2019, if you see here, like there's changes everywhere. Like every industry is noticing those
So
changes.
the thing is, like, you need to be proactive. You need to keep looking for what's gonna happen in my field. If there are people that I've seen who were who had a good job, they're working for a big multinational, and they suddenly lost their job. They come to the ground because you could foresee, okay, what's happening in the market. Your company is contracting in contact with the Indian counterparts to outsource all the department. So this was coming to you, and you didn't do anything about
So
it.
you talk about outsourcing. Outsourcing is the issue in every field, right? We have similar issues in engineering as well. So we have
Yeah.
issues in procurement as well. So it looks like that the same issues over there,
Yeah,
right? As well.
but then why don't you become a person to whom the company outsource?
In fact, it's a cheaper labor over there, right? So that's why every company wants to do that, right? So
No,
cheap
but I
labor
think
is.
in North America right now, most of the work they prefer doing it from here. Like you can say the back end developer work, they still do like in India or in the Colombia part of the world. But if you have to design an accounting system, okay, you have to talk to the people like the director of finance, the CFO. You have to talk to them. You have to understand. A person sitting in India or the Colombia, they won't be able to understand it much better. It's just like, for example, you say um, a dress designer. He can have a tailor who's cutting his clothes, but the designer, he need to be present to the customer.
Yeah, no, that's true
So that's
actually. In
same
Right.
fact,
for like
Yeah.
these guys.
if you want in depth, yeah.
You need to be a, you can say, an application designer or I will say like a program manager. For them, they need a person over here.
Do you have any question, Asim?
No, I think I don't have any further
Okay, I
questions.
guess I didn't get any. Unfortunately, there is no questions in our Zoom session, and so I guess what time is right now? So it's 7:30 already. We have few more minutes. If you have any question, anyone like Ali, you are on our Zoom session. If you wanna ask questions, certainly you can. We can unmute you if you have any question for Swakar. So let's check if we have people if they have any
I
questions.
think meanwhile we are waiting, I would like to mention something about one of the major thing we lack here is like we have qualification, we have experience. the bigger thing that we lack here is like acing an interview. So what we usually, and I think it's problem with all the
Yeah.
people, Desi people who are coming from
Mhm.
South Asian background, is what I would recommend that whenever we are going from an interview, they give you, for the first question they ask you is to introduce yourself. So just prepare well, like prepare a standard template telling about yourself of at least 5 minutes, because that is the time where you, like you can say, you break the ice and you make first impression. So for every interview, your introduction is going to be the same.
Yeah,
Just
that's true.
prepare for it, and before the what sometime happens before the interviewer goes into the question, ask him what you're looking for, because
Yeah.
you may have done a lot of work. He'll ask you a question. Okay, tell me. For example, he asks you, tell me a difficult situation where you had to do something, and he's looking for an internal auditor. So you would create or just mention your
Like
experience
these days,
about that
what I've
job.
seen that most of the interviews are like scenario based interviews, right?
Right.
So it's pretty common in every single, every other field, right? So it's all scenario based questions. So you're stuck
Yeah,
in somewhere. How you gonna, how you gonna come out of that situation, right? So
yeah,
those are the situations you must be prepared, well prepared before you go for an interview.
yeah,
Yeah, I think they're
And
trying to
yeah.
see the behavioral experience of yours and how you behave in that situation.
And I
That's what they're
actually,
looking
you
for.
touch a lot, interview. In fact, we have done in past, we have done interview session, preparation session as well from Friends Cafe platform, just so you know. And we will be planning to doing more sessions, and certainly it's going to be helpful for community if you come and join us,
yeah.
and but like as you discuss about the interview, so बहुत सारी चीज़ें जब आपने का first impression, that's first impression is the last impression, that's very important. Like when you're sitting in an interview, तो आपका जो पहला question होता है, tell me about yourself, is a very important question. Do prepare yourself before you go for that, right? So that's very, very important. And I guess another thing, as I said, that all those, like especially in North America, all interviews are based on scenario based,
Yeah,
so you better be well prepared for
yeah.
scenarios as well.
And
So that's,
people actually did trust you. So what I
yeah,
would
that's
say,
true.
like, don't lie in interview until unless you're good at it.
Yeah.
So because they will ask you, it's practical. They will ask you something which you may have never done. You're not a superhuman. You would have done everything in life, but you have to create scenario. But don't just shoot out something for which you have no idea.
Now,
Otherwise, what will happen? A 1 hour interview will be closed in 15 minutes.
that's true. No, that's true. Important. And before we adjourn this session, I guess there is another question came to my mind, like how you approach the recruiters here. Like, so you have any specific recruiters, like, or any companies which hires a lot in this, finance or accounting or auditing and technology.
Just make sure that your CV is on every recruiter's website and on every company's website, whether you need the job from them or not.
Okay.
You have to decide it later on when they come up with an interview request or something. Apply, post your CV everywhere, wherever. Not like if
To
an
me, like,
accountant don't
I
post.
have a different mindset, but to me, like, I feel that you need to tailor your resume based on the
Oh
job
yeah,
requirement, right? So if you upload your resume in every single website, you lose that opportunity,
yeah.
right? That's something most.
But for the
It can happen,
recruiters,
yeah.
for the recruiter side, what happens, like, they keep, whenever they get a job, before posting it, they look into the database and they try to find out, okay, if there's any person. Most of the time what I've seen, that I get a call from a recruiter, and then after a few days they post the jobs on their website. So having your CV, because when you post your CV on this portal, you don't know which job they're gonna look it for. So just as a wild guess, probably whatever you think is gonna be for them, for related to consolidation, related to budgeting, just keep there on their portal, because they look into their portal and they contact you based on their portal. So you cannot probably, like, even if, especially when you're working every day, you cannot look into the jobs and you post your CV according to your. So what I have done for the past, like, I've been applying for past 17-18 years, I have a big folder. I have CV for every kind of posting
Oh,
almost.
that's
Okay.
no, I guess that's important to know, like especially when you are applying in different jobs. So that's what I say, that always like tailor your resume based on the requirement.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, before because we are almost done, so thanks a lot once again, Vakant. Before we adjourn this session, I
Yeah.
would also like to thanks my co-host Asim. Thanks a
Thank you
lot,
so much.
and I would also like to thanks Ghulam Mustafa Bhai. We are here at Live Vision Live Studio. We will live there. So thanks a lot, Ghulam Mustafa Bhai as well. And once again, we will meet with you in another session next week, or maybe next month. Who knows? Like there is no schedule for this, but with some other carriers. So thanks a lot on behalf of Friends Cafe Club of Canada, and on behalf of my co-host Asim and Wakar. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
We'll talk to you inshallah next session. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
guys. Bye
Definitely.
Thank you.
bye.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank